Over the last couple of years, Mihiyo or hoyoverse or whatever they call themselves nowadays have proven that they know exactly how to make good mobile games and that the gacha concept can be absolutely enjoyable and profitable at the same time if done right. With their last two games, Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail, being a massive success, it's probably no surprise that we get a brand new game already. Zenless Zone Zero. No, Zenless Zone Zero. God damn it. Zenless Zone Zero. Whatever, ZZZ is the name of the newest title, and it's good that there are 3 Z's, because if there were only 2, people might confuse it with that old electricity company my grandpa used to work for. But the most important question is, what is this game actually like, and does the hoyoverse hold up with their usual quality, or is it even better than the previous titles? Zenless Zone Zero reminds of previous titles with many of its aspects and certain game mechanics, yet it is completely different at the same time. The general art style is not futuristic like it was in Honkai Impact or Star Rail, and also not otherworldly isekai-ish like in Genshin Impact. Instead, the developers decided to go with this 90s looking anime style world instead. It's interesting how the 90s seem to be making a comeback lately, which is absolutely fantastic, of course, because as everybody knows, the 90s were the golden age of pretty much everything. Even the start screen alone is definitely worth its weight in gold and does a good job of bringing back the memories of the good old times. And if you were born in the 2000s or later and have no idea what I'm talking about, at least you can get a glimpse of the awesomeness of that time through this game. It's not just the art style, but also the graphics of this new engine are absolutely amazing and definitely a cut above every other mobile game currently. It's really nice to see that this developer invests a good portion of money into the improvement of their games in every way. The improved graphics, animations and physics aside, even the voice acting and writing has been brought up a notch. You can really believe that.
As soon as we find them, we should just get them all, and then them again!
Seriously, this reporter guy instantly became my favorite character of this game. I really hope we get to unlock him as a playable character later, now that would be an absolute blast. Anyway, this story is being told in this digital graphical novel art style, and later also through 3D cutscenes, while conversations are also being shown in that old school split screen fashion. It's awesome how they actually managed to lip-sync the English voice lines properly this time. That was an absolutely abysmal experience in Genshin. And the story goes as something like this. You lead a team of mercenaries or whatever they are supposed to be, going by the awesome name of Cunning Hares. Yes, sounds very intimidating and badass. To take on different jobs, like the retrieval of that small strongbox that the criminal Red Fang gang stole from some institute, and the Zenless Zone probably refers to the so-called hollows. No, not those hollows, these hollows. It's like a sub-dimensional space where your ether, apparently something like life force, can get corrupted if you stay there too long, and then you start turning into a ethereal, basically a brainless monster, because we need enemies who we can slaughter hundreds and thousands of without thinking about it too much. The overall character design in this game couldn't be more anime-ish if they tried, both visually and also in terms of behavior. It's funny how they managed to nail this anime style so perfectly. I'm pretty sure in a couple of years the kids will actually think China invented anime and not Japan. Even looking at your starter team, we have Anby, the cold and rational tech specialist who always calculates the percentage of success for everything, but still somehow manages to be incredibly dumb.
Wait, isn't that the plot of that movie that was in theaters not long ago?
There was a long list of victims involved in the incident. I read all their names.
That's called a cast list!
Billy Kid, a robotic, goofy gunslinger character relief who can blush through his helmet. And Nicole, the boss of the trio and mainly there to show off the awesome new physics of the new game engine. Hey, I'm talking about the hair physics, of course. What are you thinking? I mean, just look at those huge, fluffy, soft locks bouncing in the wind up and down, and that's not even mentioning all the huge, fluffy furries, mates with shark tails, onis, and other creatures you could possibly imagine in a classic anime madness setting that are introduced later. Anyway, you also get to select a main character here. They even have names. And actually it doesn't matter who you select, because they are siblings and both part of the story. So you end up playing as both kinda. This guy and his sister run a rental video store, which is just a cover job, however. Actually they are some sort of interdimensional hackers. Unlike in the previous games, the main character does not enter the field here and serves more as an operator, directing the other characters and guiding them through the hollow subdimensions. They also do this through a cute robo bunny, because why not, I guess. So anyway, as the cunning hairs are running away from the Red Fang gang with the strong box that they retrieved, the funny reporter has the authority to give military orders for some reason. He casts a regular missile on them, there is a big explosion, and everybody falls into the hollow. And so we get to the gameplay part. The gameplay here in Zenless Zone Zero is very similar to Honkai Impact, very flashy, fast and satisfying. There is a normal attack that lets you do combos, a dodge attack which can be combined into special dodge attacks, a special attack that gets charged by doing regular attacks. Also, if you perform a special attack on a stunned enemy, you will be able to chain it with other attacks from other characters. And of course there is also an ultimate attack that gets charged up over time. Some of the attacks can also be countered with perfect assists. It's basically like a perfect block, but you also switch to another character and it also consumes assist points. So in other words, timing and strategy is crucial. However, there is one thing, Enby's special attacks, for example, throw enemies up in the air. But it is not possible to follow up with an aerial combo using the normal attack afterwards. It looks like there is no way to do aerial combos in this game right now, which is, yeah, a bit disappointing. Apparently it is also not possible to learn new combos or attacks for your characters. Instead it goes more towards getting new characters and comboing by switching in the middle of combat and linking their attacks together. You are playing a team of 3 and not just one single guy after all. Some of the characters also have some hidden moves that make them a bit more interesting. Also, there are no healers in this game, so avoiding attacks is what this game is all about. It certainly requires skill and timing, especially later on, and the overall combat is really flashy, fast and enjoyable. It's really fun seeing enemies go out in that 90s style color explosion, that never gets old. But overall, the combat could use some improvement in future updates. Also, the dungeons themselves are a bit different here. It's basically like navigating a board game. You move around those TV screens, you can choose different paths and collect currencies along the way. You can also avoid combat sometimes by completing certain text-based events. There are also enemies that will chase you across the board, so you have to hurry up to the goal or boss fight. It's really somewhat like playing a board game. Anyway, after the first dungeon you get to unlock all the features you are going to be used by now if you played the other hoyoverse games. Well, unlike in Genshin Impact, we don't have a whole open world to explore here. It's more like in Star Rail, you can run around zones called districts and do all kinds of fun things. Exploration is actually a really big deal here, because with that awesome art style, the insane attention to detail that can easily rival even Yakuza games, and the appealing music, you will certainly have a blast just roaming around, exploring and meeting all kinds of weird characters. As for the more direct activities, there are commissions, for example, you can accept in the so-called Internet. Probably a pun on the World Wide Web, because it's pretty much the same thing. Commissions are basically missions you do to earn in-game currencies, upgrade materials and whatnot. They are basically like side quests. And this is also when the infamous gacha system is introduced. And this is also when the ignorant masses usually start crying. How dare this absolutely free-to-play game give us the possibility to use real money to get the chance to get new characters faster, characters that are in no way needed to progress the story and in no way wall us off from enjoying the game. We would rather spend $70 for so-called AAA games that usually get released only half done and with bugs nowadays, and then also have microtransactions and expensive DLCs with stuff that should have been in the base game anyway. Meanwhile, Mihiyo releases free content expansions almost every month for their games. And the gacha system does not do anything different here in any way. It is just that it's called signal search this time. Instead of wishes or tickets, we use tapes to summon new characters and W engines. W engines are pretty much the same thing as light cones in Star Rail. Really needs no explanation. You can of course also upgrade those engines, level up your characters and their skills. Nothing of this has changed either. And instead of Primo Gems or Stellar Jade, we use Polychrome to buy the tapes here and also draw for new stuff. Polychrome can be bought for real money in the cash shop or earned through all kinds of in-game activities. Quests or commissions as they are called here, challenges, events and so on. It's literally the same as it was in the previous games, nothing has changed. No fixing if it ain't broken, as they say. See, I already unlocked some blue demon lolly with the 23 pulls we get in the beginning. God, this art style just looked so tasty, I could just bite one of her horns off. I really hope I did not say this out loud. So to summarize this experience and answer the very important question, is shadeless scene horror really better than Genshin Impact and Star Rail? Well, in certain aspects it absolutely is. The graphics, art style, music, character and world design, I would just summarize all this under graphics. This is definitely a 10 out of 10. Heck, I would even give it an 11 out of 10 if that's possible. Now the combat, however, could really use some improvement. Yes, it's flashy, fast and fun, and in general better than in the previous games, but there are no aerial combos, so it is kinda two-dimensional. You can also not learn any new skills for your characters. I mean, it was obvious that it wouldn't be like Devil May Cry, but in my opinion they could have done a bit more. So for the combat it's an 8 out of 10 at best. As for the story, it's honestly a bit hard to tell at this point. Both Genshin and Star Rail had very impactful story openings. You instantly notice that a lot is at stake. Here it's like a generic anime. Maybe the story will pick up later and also turn into something grand, but now it's kinda mid out of 10. So my overall verdict is yes, pretty damn fun and worth it. Out of 10. It's hard to say that it's clearly better than the previous games, because the type of game is just completely different. And this is also the beauty of that. All three games are really damn good. So if you should get bored of the gameplay in Shapeless Zone, you can just go back to the other two. After all those games still get updated regularly. There are always new zones, characters, events, and even completely new game mechanics that are being added all the time. I keep getting back into Genshin, for example, all the time, and I hope it will be the same with Toneless Bone Hero. And with that said, thank you all for watching, and see you around.